pulpit and to all of you who did not think it robbery to come out on a Monday afternoon. We give God honor and glory. Now, it doesn't matter to me what time of day it is or even how much time I have. All of my sermons begin exactly the same. I will bless the Lord.
All right.
Well, I'm going to try that one more time. I will bless the Lord at all times. God's praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. Ah, the humble shall hear it and shall be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt God's name together. For this is the day that the Lord has made, and we've come to rejoice and to bless God's holy name. I've chosen to take a text because the man we honor today took a text. My text comes to us from the Old Testament. It is brief. It is Isaiah 1:17. Learn to do good. Seek justice. Correct oppression. Bring justice to the fatherless and plead the widow's case. I've been asked to give a word, and just one, on social justice. I love this text when you talk about social justice because Isaiah makes it clear who is in need of social justice. It is the fatherless and the widow. In other words, the people who live on the margins of our society are those in need of social justice. It is easy for us to call out for the injustice when we are the ones who feel as if we have been treated unfairly. But it takes one who has been called by God to speak not only on our own behalf, but on the behalf of the least and last of these. Isaiah's call is to learn to do good because our society teaches us everybody for themselves and God for us all. And that God is not the God I serve. We are taught on a consistent and ongoing basis that we ought only treat kindly those who can do something for us. And somewhere between our own individual goods, if somebody else gets something good, well, that's all right. And Isaiah says, no, we must learn to do good for those who cannot give us anything in return. This is social justice. It is about the advantages and disadvantages that are given out in any society. And those on the margin, let me just tell you, are disadvantaged. They are in need of those who have a strong and clear voice to speak on their behalf. Learn to do good. He says you ought to seek justice, which means you ought to know when something is not just. You ought to be able to recognize injustice when you see it, and when you see it, could you say something on it? You know, I used to think that the greatest hymn of the church was, Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, because that's the safest place to be a Christian, in your heart. Many of us are content to speak to social justice in our thinking only, but not in our doing. You know, we think it's a daggone shame the way they treated that woman, and we think it's a daggone shame the way they treating them gay folks, and we think it's a daggone shame the way they treating them children, and we think it's a daggone shame the way them folks from another country can't get a good job, and it's a daggone shame the way they treat them folks who don't have education, and we think it's a daggone shame the way those folks who showed up here and trying to work get put out there. We think, and we think, and we think, and we think, and we think. Think some more. Keep on thinking on it. But Isaiah said, learn to do good and seek justice. You ought to be the ones who are correcting oppression, not just taking into account of who's being oppressed. You got to get up and do something. I say to the young people, it's our job to put a little something on it. None of us is required to fix everything that is wrong in our world, but we can put a little something on it. You are not responsible for resolving everything that is wrong in your world, but you can put a little something on it. You don't have to erase racism in your town or neighborhood, but you can put a little something on it. You ain't got to ensure that homophobia doesn't exist anywhere in the world, but you can put a little something on it. You ain't got to make sure that every illegal Hispanic or Latino or Puerto Rican person has a job, but you could put a little something on it. You ain't got to make sure that somebody got decent places to live and an actual living wage, but you could put a little something on it. You ain't got to make sure every woman can break through the glass ceiling, but you could put a little something on it. Social justice means that we learn to do good. We practice it. We're not looking for perfection, but you could have a little progress. We seek justice, which means we notice when it's not present, and we correct oppression, which means we put something on it. Sure am glad y'all came out tonight, but I would prefer that you put something on it. Didn't want to be the only one here this evening, and I don't want to disparage your presence, but my preference is that you put. I ain't got that much time, but I hope that I've taken these few moments to put.